For successful sewing on any Pfaff sewing machine, you have to clean out underneath the throat plate. I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to do it, how simple it is, and to realize you don't have to oil. So this should be something you can easily do at any point of your sewing. So first off, needles. You do want to change needles every 3 to 4 bobbins. You're going to find that that's a lot of sewing. Now we're going to take this all apart. First thing I'm going to do, you notice that there is thread in the needle. I'm going to take some scissors and cut the thread up by the spool, and then I'm going to pull the thread out the needle. So if you've noticed a lot of fluffiness from your sewing, whether you're sewing on fleece or batting or cotton, and there's a lot of leftover lint here, definitely don't pull the thread back through the machine. You're going to drag a lot of that lint up into the tension disc, so we're going to avoid that. Next, let's go ahead and take our needle out. That'll just help it so you don't stab yourself. Take off a foot, take your bobbin out, and set it aside. Next, you'll need a screwdriver, but not for a screw. So this is why it is so easy to clean, but so many people don't do it. All you need to do is take the end of the screwdriver and lift on this corner. I'm just going to give it a little twist. When it comes back, it's just going to click into place. You can also do it right here at this side. So click, lift that up, and that is piece number 1. Next, this little U shape is just sitting here. So you're going to take this, lift it off to the side, and our last bit is our bobbin case. Now right here is when you all need to repeat after me. No canned air. Do not blow anything into the sewing machine. You need brushes. You can use Q-tips. See, it doesn't take much for lint to gather down below. The more lint you have, the harder it is for the sewing machine to make this stitch and connect the bobbin with the top. So if you're getting any skip stitches, that is just a classic example of needing to get out down below through the throat plate and clean this out. Sometimes I'll use one of those dust-its. This is a sewing machine, kind of a wool thing. I can just get in there and just fluff all that all out. And before you know it, it's all clean. So clean out any areas of the bobbin case, if there's any lint hanging around the edges, and now we're ready to put it back in. So putting it back in is key, that you do it correctly in the opposite way. I see a little extra dust there. There we go, good. So these 2 little points need to point directly to the back of the machine. It's really only one place that sits down. Now, if you get it too sideways, not so great. Give it a little twist and make sure those points point straight back. And your machine will have, or the little hook area, that's the bobbin case, not the hook area. The bobbin case will have a little rock here. Next, look for that U shape. Position the end even with the front part of the machine, and it should all sit down nice and flush. So once that's just sitting there, that is the easiest part. The last thing is the throat plate. You'll notice there's a little nub on the back. I'm going to kind of slide it underneath the foot area and tuck it underneath the back part of the machine. And then I'm going to push down with 2 fingers near the front, and it will click into place. Now, I usually put my needle on last, and let me show you why. I'll put my foot on. I can even just put my bobbin in, make sure it clicks into that little groove. Click over the corner, down underneath that little place where there's a cutter. I'll put my bobbin case door on. Oh, by the way, did you know why there's a circle on your bobbin case? It's because it's a magnifying glass. Look at that. Woohoo! All right. Then, as you pull on that thread, it's perfectly left to the length to come up in that first stitch. When the foot is on, it is the easiest time to put your needle in because you have a reference point of where it needs to go. If you need a little bit more room, lower the presser foot down. Drop the needle into the multi-purpose tool that came with your machine. Drop your point down into the foot first and then up to the top, and then make sure it goes all the way to the top. How do you know it's all the way to the top? Let me actually show you. By the way, screwdrivers and the needle screws. You can't tighten this too tight here. You need to tighten it, but you can't crank on it. If you do, you start to mess with that area, and it will eventually not hold your needle in any longer. Okay, so just a nice gentle tightness on the screw. When you want to test how your needle, if your needle's at the highest place, use your needle threader. Bring that all the way down. If it's lined up with the hole, you have placed your needle in the highest position, and you have successfully cleaned all of this. One little note, I did lower that presser foot, so before I thread the machine, make sure that foot comes up, the tension discs open, and now I can go ahead and finish threading the machine correctly, and then just sew and make sure everything got back together in the correct order.